So the story starts off like any other day. I'm sitting in the shop, looking around, looking at all the projects I gotta finish. And there's no shortage of them. I mean, should I finish up the 78 YZ80 that I've been working on? Or how about that pressure washer motor one that I got coming up next? Maybe that old RM60? Nah. How about some of these carbs I gotta finish? Maybe even the equipment trailer. How about some of these CZs that gotta get put back together? I got a better idea. How about I do what I do best? That's right. Aimlessly scroll on Facebook Marketplace. My home away from home. Looking to find the next treasure that I just can't live without. And okay, here it is. This'll do. A snowmobile. Another one. One I probably don't need. I mean, especially if you consider the last time I tried snowmobiling, it didn't work out so well for me. So I should probably stay away from these things. But this one's just for fun, right? So I just picked up this 2008 Ski Doo MXZX 550F. This is the fan-cooled 550 on the X chassis. So it's got a reinforced tunnel, adjustable shocks. It's kind of more the sport race version, I guess you would say. This thing's pretty darn light, pretty cool, and I took a big gamble on it. Now, the seller told me this thing was blown up, it had no compression, and it needed a recoil because there's no pull start here. He did give me the pull start handle. No way to know if the recoil is actually good or bad until we get it apart. I pulled the side cover off. I turned over the primary clutch, and the engine did turn over freely, so I know it's not locked up at least. So I took the gamble and I gave him $1,000 for this thing, and I think that's a pretty fair price. It's a 2008, like I said. It's claimed to have around 6,000 miles on it, so not too terribly high on the mileage. And overall, the chassis is pretty straight and clean. We're going to tear into it and see if this gamble was worth it, or if I'm going to end up pretty far in the hole rebuilding this motor. I guess this is only fitting because this is the Wasp edition, or whatever Ski Doo calls them. That we got one making its home in there. Just like it's supposed to be. Not exactly sure how this muffler is held on, but we'll start with the springs. Alright. So I got the muffler unwedged. It was just wedged in there pretty good. It just had a couple springs. And you can see the recoil is back in here. So we're probably going to have to remove all that. And the chassis is kind of in the way here, so that doesn't make it easy. And then the fan shroud, of course, is here as well. So this thing's got a lot going on in this area. So it'll be a little tricky to get in there, but there's no rope I can see. So it must have gone back into the recoil. Now that we got the pull starter fixed, we can take our ancient old compression tester here, which works okay. It'll tell us if one cylinder is lower than the other. Try and get that to where you guys can see it there. Give this thing a couple pulls. Obviously there's a leak somewhere in this because it's not holding any pressure, and if I just put my finger over there and pull, you can definitely feel some pressure. So this thing is no good, unfortunately. So since my compression tester doesn't work, we're going to try the wrong method here, and we're going to take 2 new spark plugs, put them in, and see if this thing will pop over at least. I don't know. We'll try. So normally I wouldn't try this, just sticking new spark plugs in and giving it a shot, but you know, I'll be honest, the guy I got it from said it died on him and then restarted and then died. And then they must have kept pulling until the pull start recoil, until the rope just pulled right through the handle. And that kind of leads me to believe that this thing might have had a fouled plug, but you know, I'm kind of hopeful here anyway. We're going to get these plugs in. I'm not going to give it any starting fluid. I'm just going to try and pull it a couple times and see if it wants to fire on its own. You never know. You never know. I put my finger down both of these holes and pulled the starter, and it seemed to have quite a bit of resistance. So it leads me to believe it might not be blown up, but we're going to find out here in just a minute. Alrighty, let's give this thing a whirl. See if we can get the choke on. Make sure the key's on. Sure sounds like it's running on too. So as you guys just saw, this thing fired up right away, no starting fluid or anything. It seemed to smooth out pretty nicely. I do have the belt off right now. It definitely was running on both cylinders. There's no doubt about that. I mean, it sounded consistent and smooth. However, the smell of the fuel is terrible. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and take out whatever oil's in here because it really just, I mean, it smells really nasty. And pump out whatever gas is in the tank. I don't know how old it is or what, you know, where it's from. I'm surprised that it fired right up with just, you know, pulling the pull cord back through the recoil. The guy I got this from, he didn't really seem to have a lot of mechanical knowledge. So it does make sense that it would have just fouled the plug. And, you know, there's a lot of people out there that just ride these things and they don't understand much about engines as a whole. So you can buy bikes or sleds or power sports with just simple problems, you know, dirty carburetors, fouled spark plugs. You can find them everywhere, you know, but at the same time, I've bought bikes that were supposed to be running perfect, and you know, the cases were JB welded together under the skid plate or something, you know, they can't see right away. So there's a lot of liars out there, but you know, there's a lot of people who just honestly don't know. And so far it kind of seems like this is just one of those situations where somebody didn't know, and worked out for me because I only paid $1,000 for this thing. So I'm All right, so since this is way rather uneventful, that this thing actually just fired up and probably was one of the best deals I've ever gotten. Fired right up. It is, in fact, not blown up like the ad stated. So this is a pretty uneventful buy, but I'm happy with it. What we should do before we go riding on this thing this year is get it all serviced up, and then I got a couple other little things I want to do. I just pulled the hand guards off it and I swapped it over to the other one. I ended up getting that one earlier this year, but that one I bought running and driving. I bought that one for $900 actually. That was a super good deal, and that's a 2007 500 SS model. We got to get both of these things serviced up, so we're going to be changing the chain case oil, checking the chain tension. I'm going to pump the old oil and fuel out of both of these because they're unknown age and unknown type. I got brand new Ski Doo oil, and I got some brand new 91 ethanol-free gas for both of these. Get these things serviced up and then peel all the decals off just because I don't like them. So let's get started. So I just added 3 gallons of fuel to the sled. Now we're going to use this XPS carbon free. This is a fuel additive. And so 1 ounce per gallon. So we're just going to do 3 ounces on our ratio, right? New oil going in. All right, now we're gonna run a little bit of that fuel system cleaner through this thing and see if it'll clear out a little bit. just like that, we got two awesome running Ski Doo Rev chassis snowmobiles. Sometimes you just can't pass up a good deal, and I'm a sucker for the Facebook Marketplace, and good deals don't pass me up too often. Now we just need snow. Thanks to everybody who tuned in and watched this video and stayed till the end. If you think I should take this snowmobile out on the motocross track as soon as we get some snow, stay tuned, because I think that's really the next most reasonable option now that I have this thing. And if you want to see other videos on equipment that I work on and restore, check out my other channel at Equipment Revival on YouTube.